Continuing with the faking 3D, what we're going to do now is create the illusion of a planet that has a sun rising in the background, with the added effect of the actual gradient on the planet moving to match the light of the sun. To do this, we're going to create our planet, and we're going to use the oval tool, and you're going to hold down the Shift plus the Alt or Option keys on the keyboard, and draw out a perfect circle like so. I already have a gradient in my circle, but let me show you how I got that. All you do is click on your object, and in your swatches palette, choose one of the gradients below here. I chose this one. Now let's go ahead and move our planet into position. And as you see here, I've already named my layer planet. To do that, just double click and name your layer. By default, it just says layer. Alright, so our planet is in position. I also want to change the background here to a space blue kind of color, so I choose a dark blue. Let me go to, actually a little bit darker than that, let me go to black or something. Well, it might be too much because now you can't see the outline. I want to make sure we can see the outline of the planet. Alright, now that we have our planet in position, let's go ahead and animate the gradient. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a frame to frame 20 by pressing F6 on the keyboard. And I'm going to choose this cool tool right here. And this is called the Fill Transform tool, as you see. What it allows you to do is move the position of the gradient. So what I can do is choose this tool, click on my gradient object, and I can now take the gradient and move it like so. Now, since we want to have the sun rise and then have the light follow it, I want the gradient on frame 1. Let's go back to frame 1 and make sure that the gradient is down here somewhere because there's no light yet on this planet. And then as the sun rises, the gradient will move. So on frame 20, we're going to take our gradient, and now we're going to make sure we move the gradient to the edge of the planet like so. So on frame 1, the gradient's here. On frame 20, the gradient is way up here. Now let's go ahead and add our shape tween. So let's go ahead and preview that. And we have a moving gradient. Now that we have this the way we want, let's go ahead and lock the planet layer and add our sun layer. And using the same technique, let's draw an oval. Hold the Shift and Option or Alt button on the keyboard, and let's draw out our sun. Now, of course, the sun is a little too dark, so we'll click on it once and choose any gradient here, or we can keep this gradient and use the color stops here to change the color. I'll click on this one time like so, and change the color by using not only this area of the mixer, but also here to give it a nice fill. And we'll get rid of the black by clicking once on this color stop and doing the same thing. And let's go ahead and make that a little brighter on the inside. Okay, now that we have our sun, let's go ahead and select the entire sun and group it. And for now, just for positioning, let's go ahead and put it right about here because we want to be able to see where the animation is going to occur. Later on, we will reposition the layers. On frame 20, I want the sun up here. So we now have our animation on frame 1. It's going to be down here. And on frame 20, it's going to be up here. So let's make sure we add a keyframe. Let's press F6. And now we have our sun animation. Let's go ahead and put a motion tween on this and preview. Great. Now let's go ahead and drag our sun layer so that it's underneath the planet layer. Now we can't see it. And we will scrub the timeline. As you see, the gradient moves to match the sun. Let's go ahead now to our background and turn it to a darker color so we can really see the effect of this. To add some extra oomph to the animation, you might want to add some speckles to the background for stars, for example, another layer, and just some really small ovals like this in the background. Or you could use the Polystar tool and then go to Options down here in the panel and then choose Star. And now you can draw out real stars like so.